Hello, welcome to episode 8 of So Long Too Long. We've recorded this on the same evening as episode 7 because we wanted to make the most of Steve while he's on our shores. So if you've emailed us since the last episode, we'll get round to it next time. But we did have some more correspondence, as they say in the biz, that we wanted to go through. I think Rowie had some, didn't you?
Yeah, just a lot of positive feedback to Steve's MS Paint job on Colombo. Like, if they stop arsing around inventing time machines, because you might as well just throw up an MS Paint job from 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it just took people right back. And we've had some correspondence from Beck, who says now the Albany's now local, and you'd be glad to know it's still a great pint in there. And they still make friends every time they go in, so it's still got a charm about it, let's say. So we might be doing that show from L13 pretty soon, do you reckon?
I think so.
I'm up for that, yeah. As long as they've forgiven me for stealing the table that time, I reckon.
And we can cut the ribbon on the music corner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. The pictures, we went through in between last episode and this, we went through the pictures our correspondent had sent. And there's even a jukebox there now and a piano that they wear.
A piano?
Yeah.
Is that upmarket? I don't know.
So again, thanks for all your correspondence. And we've had people already sending in memories and stories they want us to cover. There is one which we are going to cover, a infamous gig. So we just want people to know, if you were at the Head of Steam gig, and you will know which one if you were there, that we're going to cover it.
Oh, God.
So without further ado, thanks so much for subscribing. What we're going to also be doing is, for Patreon subscribers, adding on little bonus extras. One thing we're going to do is go through the enemy cool list of 2005 and see who was cool around then, who we hated, probably everyone, but the reasons we hated them.
Who was cooler than Frank Bottom? We're going to find out.
Wow.
Well, I know I hated all of them.
So there's going to be extra bonus bits for Patreon subscribers. Thanks a million. It's not free to host these shows. It does cost a bit. So anything you subscribe to, it really, really is appreciated. But anyway, without further ado, here's episode 8 of So Long Too Long. This is So Long Too Long, a true-to-life recounting of a band that, despite their very best efforts, seemed destined to break into the big time if they could only overcome one hurdle: themselves. If they weren't quite 4 lads who shook the world, they certainly gave their postcodes a tremble. We ended the last episode with me receiving a prophecy in a fortune cookie that informed me that whether I chose to follow fame or love, I'd be a success. News that arrived just after the Albany had played their first ever proper gig in town. Fantastic. The fact that on the back of this gig, combined with our ever-continuing MySpace follies attracting more local engagement, we were offered other gigs within the city, meant that I felt this was a certainty. My fame was a safe bet. Our next gigs were in the hallowed Zanzibar and Largo, 2 venues that held very dear places in my heart. The Zanzibar had, a few years earlier, felt like the epicentre of the universe. Local band The Bandits had started a club night there called The Bandwagon that quickly caught the attention of the national music press as it played host to the most exciting music coming from Merseyside in the Coral, the Zootons and the Stands, before attracting wider zeitgeist capturing bands like the Libertines and even a set from Noel Gallagher in a very intimate gig I was lucky enough to be at. Although the Bandwagon's flame had flitted out by this point, the Zanzibar was still seen as the place to cut your teeth, and in Pat O'Shaughnessy genuinely had the best sound system and engineer in the city. Largo, meanwhile, was a bar that I had been frequenting since my fake ID arrived in the post when I was 16. A place that sold astonishingly cheap beer. I've got the figure £1.10 for a pint in my head. It was the hangout of many of Liverpool's second tier of musicians. If the upstairs of the Zanzibar was where the Premier League musicians went to drink Red Stripe and smoke weed, Largo was where the championship teams such as the Maybes and Tramp Attack went to drink Carling and, well, smoke weed. It was a dive with the worst toilets in the city, but we loved it with a religious fervour. To get gigs in both venues, therefore, felt great. If we hadn't quite arrived, we were certainly en route. I remember both gigs feeling good, though my matured ears now tell me they probably sounded dreadful, but they were largely uneventful and things felt good, even natural. I was doing my fortune cookie proud. That was to change. The specifics of how we got the gig or who we were supporting escape me now, but we were soon offered the return gig at the Barfly, back to the scene of our finest hour. This time it was a Friday night, perfect for whipping up a crowd. We got to work plastering it all over MySpace and drumming up support, only for our plans to come crashing down on the day of the gig. We received a message telling us that our slot had been pulled. We were gutted. We announced the news on social media and went to the Albany pub to lick our wounds. Once there, fueled by Foster's, an incensed Rowie decided he wasn't going to stand for this. He was going to take affirmative action. He rang the venue and told them in his broad Scouse accent that we were a Manchester band, and as such we'd booked a van to bring us down the M62 for the gig, and again all in a thick Scouse accent, how aggrieved we were not to be playing. Miraculously this worked. The venue and the promoters took pity on this bunch of Mancunian meths and agreed that if we carried on ploughing down the motorway we could have our set. The only problem was, by now it was 6 p.m. We needed to get our gear, in bin bags naturally, to the venue and try and recruit our following. As archaic as it sounds now, smartphones weren't a thing at this point, and we had no way of updating our main news source, MySpace. So we faced these two problems with what any self-respecting serious musicians would do. We ran to Steve's dad for help. Steve's dad had a van that could easily accommodate us and our gear and lived a 5-minute walk from the pub. There, Steve would also hopefully have access to his computer and could tell the world the good news: the gig was back on. We agreed this to be the best plan of action and without any time to spare left the Albany. Such was the rush, I still had my pint to finish, but my orders were clear and affirmative, and I set off with my drink still in hand, safe in the knowledge I could finish it on the way back to HQ. This was our first mistake of many. By sheer chance, a police car happened to be passing on Derby Lane, and on seeing us screeched to a halt and pulled me aside before giving me a good dressing down for the dual offence of carrying alcohol in an open container that could also be used as a weapon. The police officers were more irritated by my clear stupidity and obviously didn't see much value in wasting much time with me. They no doubt could see my knees knocking and my puppy dog eyes widening, and rightly assumed I was just a daft lad rather than an antisocial hoodlum. But regardless, they confiscated my glass and tragically poured away my nectar before telling us to get on our way. If I had the know-how and arrogance, I could have spun this to the lads as I rejoined the group as our first brush with notoriety and worn it as a badge of honour. My first brush with the law as a surefire sign we were the hottest gang in town. But I think I was highly embarrassed and just wanted it all to be forgotten about, so rushed everyone further on to load the van. We're on Zoom. Steve's in the room. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but look at the cans on the table.
And the notes.
From the band that had their set lists on beer mats, we've got our notes for So Long Too Long episodes written on the back of a cardboard beer container. You can take the lads out of L13, but you can't take the L13 out of the lads.
A lot of lessons are being learned.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It was broke from the start, Robbie. That's the whole point of the thing.
If it's broke, don't use it.
Oh, speaking of broke, man, we were broken men when we found out that the gig was cancelled. So, right, I can't remember the specifics of the gig other than it was a Friday night in the Barfly. I can't remember who got us the gig or anything like that, but we were thoroughly pissed off, weren't we, when the gig got cancelled?
Fuming.
Because the gig was going ahead, but for some reason our slot was cancelled. I can't remember the specifics.
Was it not because we booted the big fucking hole in the wall?
quite. Do you know? I've never to this day I've never questioned that they might have put 2 and 2 together. But Rowie's idea to just tell them we're from Manchester, we're on our way. They can't tell us to turn back.
Like when we got told the news that you aren't playing, it's like fucking hell. All this practicing and all that, it's all to waste, innit? I just can't be having this. Can't be having this / can't be arsed sitting in the Albany for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
So might as well get busy. But yeah, I was fuming. And I think we went back to yours to make the call. And when I called them up, I was just like, you can't do this. Because obviously we wouldn't have had a manager or anything like that. But I remember saying, we've just loaded up all our gear there. All our gear as well, by the way. Come and use your amps. I remember loading, like saying, we just loaded all our gear there, but on the way down to 62, we're from Manchester, in this voice, did like, no method acting or nothing. And he were like, oh yeah, if you can get there in 10 minutes, and we were like, fucking yeah, no worries with Darlene. See you in 5.
Because it felt like we were on a bit of an upward curve or a roll, because we'd had the gig in the Zanzibar and Largo, and I think they were something like a week apart or something like that. And again, they were quite unremarkable in the sense that they went well. Do you remember either of them?
I remember, like you were saying about the Zanzi and the Largo there, very different to like the Barfly, but just so good to be like cutting your teeth on like them stages, because playing venues like that, it kind of made it like feel very real, because you weren't just playing like afternoon slots in pubs or in clubs around town. You were playing like actual venues and places like the Zanzibar. Like, wow, you saying there about the sound. And I remember people saying, oh, you can actually get your recordings if you give in a mini disc or for at the desk, like you'd be able to get recordings back. Like that's how long ago and how good it was. Like people wanted to get recordings from there. But yeah, I don't remember too much detail about the gigs themselves, apart from obviously you're not like cosplaying this band lark. It's real, and you're doing it like at the bottom of your road. Yeah.
Zanzibar was special, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Like Largo, I think memories from playing there was needing the shite and weighing up the options because the toilets were that bad.
Shitting yourself's better option.
Yeah. I did have that once where I urinated down myself. So,
you did in Largo, didn't you?
Yeah. No one noticed, no one cared.
The thing I remember about Largo is that, do you remember on the floor it had these like floor tiles, and it
the pounds.
It always looked like a pound coin.
Like a pound coin, always.
And you'd go in knowing they weren't, but you'd have a few pints, and every bastard time you'd go, oh, there's a quid, and you'd no, it's the fucking tiles. Do you remember?
But even if you didn't clock it and you clocked it on your own, you're like, oh, I don't want to look like a fucking mini bag here. I go in sort my shoelaces out. You go down, you come up devoed.
Every time. Been there years, and oh man, it's been done up. I haven't been there for a long time, but it was a haven, Largo. It was like the cool Zanzibar where you could get in, didn't have to have a ticket.
I think we played for the build up to when Caffrey's went to £1.20 for the happy hour, something like that. Because it seemed to have us like young people at the time, and then loads of older fellas drinking the bitter. You remember that?
Yeah, because it'd be like £1.10 a pint until it was time for Bob to put his keks on.
Oh,
you know, like there was a cut-off point at 7 o'clock where prices went up. Bob
it's $2.50 now.
When he put his keks on, it was like hit the stage.
I've got a feeling the Largo gig was like a Sunday affair. Again, it was all right. It was fine. We were pleased with it, and this is why things were feeling increasingly all right. This is what we do. And people are getting onto us on MySpace. People are shouting the Albany around town. We're gigging the Zanzibar, Largo. Yeah.
Do you think we got through 3 gigs like that ever again? Because I don't remember a succession of gigs where I was like, man, I was good there.
At this point, we were still actually practicing.
Yeah.
Well, I say practicing. We were still getting together in your bedroom and drinking 5-bob pills, but we'd still... Which is why I think we felt all right, just kind of going, yeah, well, we're still going to play. Even if you cancelled us, we're still going to play.
We could back ourselves at that point,
yeah. as you can probably tell, dear listener, this is all going to change. But at that point, we were still meeting every Saturday after I'd finished my shift in Woolies via Groovy Gary's and the Albany, and we were still working on stuff. We still felt like, yeah, come on. So I think you're right. We probably didn't have as many good runs as gigs, but that was fine.
And I think we have to emphasise the point we didn't have a bassist as well.
Still.
And we weren't close to getting one.
And we still, like, weren't asked.
I wasn't on the agenda once.
No.
No.
Like, we didn't go looking for it. We didn't put out on MySpace or whatever, Face Party or whatever the other ones were at that time. The Albany needed a bit. Like, imagine us going into like Dawson's or Curly's, with
putting up one of them fucking rip off the number and all that.
Rip
Carry
off
on.
the number. No time wasters.
Yeah.
Must have own gear. Must have.
Already got enough time wasters in the fucking band.
Do you know what, someone puts a number up on a music shop and I just think they're not good enough. Piss off.
So it never crossed our mind.
You want to find a bass player in like Mackey's or something
Yeah.
or the Albany in the corner. He goes, I can play bass, lads. Right, you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, not ringing round.
Yeah.
Desperate.
So playing these, especially the Zanzibar, this phenomenal place where I'd seen like Noel Gallagher in the Coral and that, playing it without a bass player is now insane. But we were buzzing, and again there were loads of pictures, and I'm sure someone's got an archive somewhere. But there was a really good picture of us backstage reading the Echo, posing naturally,
Yeah.
but posing to make it look like we weren't posing. Do you know what I mean? Like, candid picture of me and Rowie reading the Echo there, as if we're Jagger and Richardson. Yeah.
I had a green blazer on. That was a bit too big for me, with a scarf, holding me drumsticks, with shades on, with jet black straight hair.
We were great, weren't we? Fucking hell. So the police incident. Do you remember? Start that again. Do you remember? So the police incident. We were outside on the benches in the beer garden, and we were like, right, Rowie's got an idea. I thought we rang them from there, but you're right, we would have had to go to Steve's dad to do all this. So you had the idea, so right, okay, go, and there wasn't a second to lose because it was like 6 o'clock.
You've got to go now. Don't finish this pint. We'll take it with us.
Yeah, there's a load of people waiting for us here. They're all expecting us.
Because at this point, my mates from sixth form were all at uni, but they'd all come back for this Friday, and they were all planning on coming. So we knew originally we had a lot of people coming to the gig, so this felt like a way to. If we act now, we can get all my mates back, and we can get a crowd, and we'll be sound. So we can like that down Derby Lane, and just soz law, this police car. You can see it coming. Oh, here we go. There's no point trying to hide it. They've seen us. I know, that type of thing. And oh god.
From memory, like it went like the late night, so it would have been like daylight, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah,
like when we were doing it all, and they didn't even like put the sirens on, like whoop whoop. It's just like,
do you know what?
Hey, use.
Dickhead, get over here.
It wasn't the first time in Derby Lane would fought the authorities. I remember having an argument with a milkman once. Because he caught us nicking some milk, but
how dare he?
Yeah, it was a step up.
Oh, how dare he? Very good.
We had incidents afterwards where we got caught swimming in a puddle and we got told off by the police.
Oh, that's for another time.
Well, actually, I think they just looked at us, didn't they? but
it was height of like chav culture, weren't it? So like all this open drinking and all that, it was a massive no.
Oh yeah,
and obviously we're there like walking around with like pint glasses like almost full, and we were halfway to yours because it's not a massive walk.
No,
got pulled up from the corner like the Retsina.
Yeah,
and I was like, I was just devastated pouring away any drink, even if there was a swig left, they weren't letting you drink it. It was like, pour it out now on the floor, idiots.
I finally understood the NWA. Fuck the police, like.
You see, I'd love to, but as I've said in other episodes, when it comes down to it, I'm just terrified of conflict. So I was very much like, oh, I'm sorry, officer, I didn't realise you couldn't carry out. I knew full well what I was doing, but oh, I'm sorry, I'm just a good Catholic boy. Can you please let me go? I was showing 3 Hail Marys and let me go. Very much at odds with everything I'd portrayed up to that point. I'm a fucking I'm a rebel. The slightest bit of slightest bit
in the gutter.
I'll donate to a charitable cause. I was just mortified because I knew as well that I'd came across like that. I knew I couldn't go back to, you know, when they pulled me aside and they were like, look, they were clearly just like, look, dickhead. Not only are you carrying alcohol in an open and you're drinking it, you're carrying a weapon. And they said that's the worst thing about this. You're carrying that, you know, basically you could glass somebody, and they were like, the kid's about as if I'm gonna glass a kid.
Depends if they like the emo music. That's a joke.
But I knew that coming back to you, I couldn't even play it off as like, I just fought them all, lads, because I was so like, you know,
I think Steve was the most wounded because he wanted these fucking pint glasses for Bucko's bar.
I had the stools on the table.
Could have completed the set. Antiques Roadshow there, man.
And I had the ashtray. What was the brand name of that one? It's like
Was it Castlemaine, was it?
Skull.
Yeah.
Weighed half a ton.
Skull someone with a skull, couldn't you? So yeah, that was our first brush with the law.
That night.
That night, yeah.
Yeah, we fought the law day one.
Oh,
that night.
Oh, yeah. Didn't even fight them. I met the law.
Agreed. Don't be intense.
I put my escape from incarceration aside and, with ego slightly bruised, soon turned my attention to the gig at hand. Once in Steve's house, we hurriedly announced to MySpace that the gig was back on, and I used the last of my credit on my pay-as-you-go phone to tell all my mates to change their plans for the second time and come down and see us. We excitedly loaded up Steve's dad's van and felt like renegades. Guerrilla gigs were very much in vogue at this time, in which bands would turn up and play supposedly unannounced gigs in unusual venues like on the London Tube or a Top Man's shop. The cynic in me, 2 decades later, now strongly suspects that these were actually well-coordinated PR stunts, as opposed to evidence of the revitalised breath of noughties punk, as we were told. But that's another point for another time. Because with us worming our way back into the lineup via the clandestine approach, we felt like we were doing something similar, and we were smashing the imaginary glass ceiling we assumed was above us. Not quite. On arriving back at the Barfly, time was tight and we were told we pretty much had to load on via the back entrance and play. Nobody questioned our lack of Mancunian accents, and thankfully Bob's DIY work from the last time we played appeared to have gone unnoticed. We grabbed a few bottles of lukewarm Carlsberg and strode back onto the stage to boldly announce ourselves to the entrance of 3 members of the headline act and Steve's dad. Oh dear. Now, the upstairs of the Barfly, it's a medium-sized venue, but when there are 4 people in a crowd, it suddenly becomes very large indeed. Undeterred, we roused ourselves by reassuring each other the crowd was surely on its way, and besides, it's all good practice, let's just get some minutes in our legs. I recall the first 2 songs going well, and despite the crowd numbers remaining static, feeling good. Then, during 2 minds, I felt the all-too-familiar ping of a string snapping. Determined not to break my golden rule of never stopping, I ploughed on and bumbled through the rest of the song, but it was clear that trouble was on the horizon. Lacking backup or replacements, as if, we had no choice but to carry on regardless. We hadn't encountered this problem before, so I recall Rowie and I blankly staring at each other, unsure of what to do, before he, unannounced, started playing One More Cup of Coffee by Bob Dylan. Now, I knew this song inside out, as did Steve, but we hadn't played it live before, so we tried to cobble together an impromptu cover version. But any sense of cohesion and verve was long gone, as was the audience. I looked up and the main act had sidled off to the bar, leaving us playing to Steve's dad and Steve's dad alone. Cover song finished, thoroughly deflated. I was at a loss at what to do and was increasingly frustrated with the whole affair. Where were the masses? Where was the spare string? What about the fortune cookie? Seemingly unbothered, Rowie launched into a jam in F-sharp minor and Steve duly joined in. I remember trying to noodle something, trying to salvage anything from a thoroughly dispiriting affair, but on looking back up and seeing the sound man resting his head on his hand and only Steve's dad, I decided I'd had enough. I threw my first strop and put my guitar down and walked off stage. Rowie and Steve carried on for about 30 seconds more before the sound fizzled to a hiss and they left the stage to stonewall silence, with me wishing we hadn't bothered. Steve's dad was sanguine about the whole thing, and him reassuring us that at least we now had a cover song under our belts will always stick with me as a wonderfully nice thing to do, but I just wanted to write the whole evening off and go to the pub, which we duly did. We met up with a mate of Steve's called Ashley and had a few drinks in town before calling it quits and decided to go back to what we knew, the Albany. We grabbed a pizza takeaway each and jumped into a black taxi. Halfway through Kensington, stopped at traffic lights, Ashley had finished his pizza and noticed there was a bin on the side of the street, as did the man behind the counter in the kebab shop it was outside of. The boss man could clearly see what Ashley was thinking and via sign language and thumbs up encouraged Ashley to throw the box from the taxi into the bin. Some innocent hijinks that was going to soften the blow of a rather damp squib of an evening. Ashley launched his pizza box out of the window, narrowly missing the bin. He asked the taxi driver to hold on while he jumped out to actually put it in the bin, but before this could happen, the blue light of an unmarked police car that had been behind us went on, flooding our vision, and we then heard the wailing of sirens from officers who clearly took a disparaging view of litterbugs. For fuck's sake. For years I thought I'd just put my guitar down, but Rowie over the years has told me several times I did throw a strop. And I'll hold my hands up now. I did storm off.
I should have done the same, to be honest. Because we didn't we hurtled down to 62. Like when we got there to sound check, it was just a line check because they were like. Right,
you're on
levels. You got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Whatever time the doors were, whatever. And I think we should have literally read the room from the minute we walked in because it was fucking dead.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the saying you're on in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell's going to happen here? So you're like nipping outside for a ciggy or something before you come back on. And obviously the place hasn't filled up. But again, it's just nice to be backstage and doing this and that and the other. And you think, well, we'll just give it a go, eh? Like, why not? Hoping that people would turn up.
Yeah.
Hoping that anyone that people would want to support, like local music, as if. You know what I mean?
Over 14s are welcome. Yeah. Because it was, again, at the risk of sounding like an old fart, which is mad to say now, you had to have credit on your phone. Because I remember my mates, as I said earlier, my mates from uni were back, so I was using the last of me credit to tell them to come back down, but they didn't have credit to ask me the details. So now it's rapid, isn't it? You know, if the gig's back on, come back. But back by then, if they changed the plans, they changed the plans. But I didn't know that because they wouldn't have had credit because we were all skint. So they couldn't tell me, Matty, we've changed our plans now. So we, as you were saying, we were expecting. Well, all those people who said they were going to come, they're going to come now. But they.
I wish we were in Manchester, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, it was miserable. I remember the gig starting, and I remember us playing, clearly thinking, do you know what? I'm not asked if there's 4 people in the crowd with sound, and it quickly went south. It was all when me string snapped.
Yeah,
I think there was more in soundcheck, to be honest. There was more people there in soundcheck than when we started playing.
It was the first track, and the group that were headlining, I think, were watching us.
Yeah.
One track in, they walked off and went in the back.
Because upstairs in that mask, there's that wall there, like we were saying before. They literally just... They didn't even pretend. No. They just walked behind the wall. I just did half a left.
Yeah, my dad was standing there, weren't he, watching us.
God love him.
The Bob Dylan song I thought went well, but...
Well, why the fuck were we even, like, trying that, even, like, in an empty room? Because would we have, like... Probably would have jammed it and, like...
We'd have messed around with it, you know, like we did with Teenage Kicks or something. But I remember you started playing, not even the chords, you did, like, the bass or the violin riff, and I was like, oh... Rowie started now. I know what he's... Right,
as if anyone wants to listen to the track now, there's a violin and a bass for the first 30, 60 seconds.
We had 9.
And we weren't fucking Bob Dylan either.
No, Christ, no. And I was down a string and...
I think my dad clapped it.
A solitary clap.
Yeah.
Oh man, it just
But yeah, like, you obviously had enough even before that point.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you threw your issy fit, exit stage
Yeah.
left, whatever.
yeah.
But obviously, like me being like this competent master of like these 5 chords.
The problem is when you threw your guitar down, you'd have to go back on stage to get it.
Good thing is, no one was there to see me come back on stage.
But yeah, when you fucked off, it was just me and Steen. It was like, I can't believe, Matt. Oh my God, like what the... There's only 2 of us now. Oh, we're not the White Stripes, but we can be shite. I just remember like thrashing on this fucking bar chord. Steve just go ahead and like smacking his drums and all that. But obviously it makes no sense. Like it's just happening. And like you say, 30 seconds later, just give up. And Matty had the idea all along, and probably the promoters had the right idea, like fucking getting saying we don't need just this gig.
The only person that had the right to be pissed off in that building that night was the plasterer going over Bob's hand the week before.
And you'd half wasting £10 in betting money.
He couldn't even have a drink or anything as well.
It was our first like sour moment. There'd be plenty to come, but it was our first like, do you know, everything else had just gone fine before this. It was our first like, you know, combined with the my brush with the lot, my stroke with the lot, it just felt like, I thought we were
Yeah, we were never going to jack it in after that.
Oh no, God no.
But like looking back on it, like you could see why you wouldn't bother your ass again, because thank God that we had like a little run of gigs to build up our confidence and nothing. Like it wasn't like our confidence was like knocked down through the floor. It was just a bit of a drag because it felt like you were just making a bit of a tit of yourself. But thankfully, in a way, in front of no one.
It was actually just the reality of
gigging.
The music industry, wasn't it? You know,
it was the reality of where we actually were. You know, the fact that we turned up with no amps, no anything, no backup plan of your strings snapping. You know, it was reality.
We were still
where
using
we
10-watt amps. That's the thing.
No, we didn't take them to gigs. We just turned up and like.
If you took them to a gig, that go, what the fuck are they?
And that's why we didn't. We turn up and go, "Can we use your amps?" Like not agreed in advance. We'll play your gig if you can give us. We just turn up and go, "Right, we're the Albany. Yeah. Where's your equipment? It's yours. Your equipment. That's our equipment tonight.
Where is it?
Yeah, where is it? Yeah.
I'd be like, "There's bass drum and toms, isn't there? I've got me cymbals in bin bags.
Bin bags. Yeah. But we didn't have Bob with us, so there was no danger of any walls.
Maybe it was our mojo.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe he was.
Yeah. Probably not. Maybe we were just pissed off because we were sober because there was no Bob.
Because the police had taken our ale and there was no Bob to buy us it.
Yeah.
Or bribed them.
Yeah.
They would have went, all right, Bob. We'll let your lads go.
Oh man.
Utterly shite experience.
Yeah. I mean, every band has a night like that.
The amount of arsing around just to like get the gig in the end, just not worth it, and not worth it for everyone involved. And you can literally count them on your hands because there's only fucking 3 of us, and Steve's half
I'm the sound engineer.
Like what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, what is the point? But
on reflection, I'd be more pissed off now. I can't remember who they were, but the headline band, they must have had a worse night than us, though. Because
it was dead. The place was dead. And that ain't getting full in the next 2.5 hours.
Well, as I said when we arrived, all these bands are shit.
Including us.
Sound. Right, so then the next experience was Ashley's. I mean, to go from law-abiding citizens to 2 clashes with the police in a night, man, we were approaching Rolling Stones level of infamy there, weren't we? Pizzagate. Let's start again. That's way better than that. Right, let's start again. You say Pizzagate.
So Pizzagate.
We haven't rehearsed that at all. But yeah, Pizzagate. It was, oh man, if you want to put a pepperoni on the pizza of the night, that was it, wasn't it? We'd met Ashley. We only Steve knew at that point, but we met our mate Ashley. And when that was like, that's how your night ends after all this fucking drab squib. And then your second encounter with the police in a night over, absolute mindless.
What I don't get about the police's problem was it had good spin. And it was clearly going towards the bin. It just... the way the bin was shaped, it was the edges. So actually it was Liverpool City Council's problem.
Well, there we go. It raises a bigger question.
Yeah.
They've got them like fucking super mega bins now. Now, if we were like doing that today, that would have fucking flew in easy, no problem.
What we
Sign of the times, if anything.
Probably give them a kick up the arse.
When the police came over and started talking to us, we should just started playing them one more cup of coffee. They would have done one fairly quickly.
It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
One more pepperoni for the road. Oh, it's shite that.
It just summed up that ultimate the despondency of the night. But you know,
Yeah.
It was literally because we were in this hackney cab, like them blue lights lighting up the whole carriage that you're sitting in. You're like, oh, what's this?
Yeah. See, this was in a...
We didn't even get out the cab.
No.
This
put that out
was
through the
years
window.
before austerity, where like police could stop you for that.
It was just so like, oh, you messing, because it was so innocent. Like the bloke in the kebab shop was like, you could see what Ashley was trying to do, so he was like, you know, thumbs up. Hey, go on, you try and do it. And I mean, God love Ashley. The fact he actually said, didn't he? Oh, hang on, mate, hang on. Let me stop the taxi.
Right me wrong.
Let me. I don't want to litter. And then, but before we could do that was. Oh,
I don't know,
God.
you know, I think he was in on the conspiracy because we didn't buy the pizza from his place. And he could
You
probably
might have
see the
seen
police.
the police behind.
Oh, it was Big Kebab.
Yeah.
Big kebab. That's what it was called.
That's a Big Kebab. Yeah, they were in on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So don't trust pizza owners or the police.
We were a political band. We just didn't realise it. Is that what we're saying?
Fuck the police and pizza parlours.
But to hear remember all these stories now, and now that I'm not spoiling anything because we said this in episode 1, but to know that we'd end up on Radio 1, you know, telling these stories now and knowing that we actually didn't change much, but still end up on Radio 1, it's nights like that you think, if you could have whizzed back and said, don't worry lads, you'll end up on Radio 1, at that night I'd have told you, fuck off, mate.
No way.
Yeah.
This has been the night from hell.
Yeah.
The shittest gig we've ever done to date.
Yeah, to
probably
date.
probably the shittest pizza they've ever had.
Was that bad we threw it out the window?
And the police twice in one night.
But what I don't understand at this point, why didn't we look for a bass player? We played a song that's heavily bass with no bass player.
It's got to you, this, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's too late now, still,
could have been different.
So there we go. 2 brushes with the law, 1 shit gig, and we ended up in the Albany. Do you know what? That night we probably missed Last Orders as well. It was that type of night, wasn't it?
miserable night. Miserable night.
Good job they always had to stay behind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It would have been one of those 3 knocks on the window.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Could have been, yeah.
Probably police
It
would
was.
have given the third.
Thinking about it now, I think
was, wasn't
it? It definitely was.
It was, wasn't it?
The lads are here. Get them in.
How was the gig, lads? Smashed it. Smashed it, Ange.
Got
Do
to
you
be the
want
next
Foster's?
big thing, these lads. You know?
And now look at us. The global podcast.
Do you know what though? We were talking about the other band fucking off when we played the first song. When we finished, we fucked right off, didn't we?
Oh, right off.
So there was free and you'd have 4 less
So-
people in the room.
Yeah.
Fucking knows who was on next. They might have got nicked.
April and May would be fucking crying again.
I mean, I'd love to say the only way was up from there, but actually, the next thing was we licked our wounds and we said, right, we've fought on the battlefield of the live arena. We need to record. That I think after all that we were like, right, okay, we've had our good, we've had our bad. We only had 4 gigs, but we were like, we've had our good. The next thing is the studio.
What's one of them?
That's what.
Yeah, well, that's what you think of. Let's record. We haven't got a full band, and we've got about 4 songs really that you could record. I'm not including intro or outro either.
So that's where we went. Next up, the studio.
Avanti.
So Long Too Long is a podcast written by me, Matty Lackland-Day, also starring Liam Rowlands and Steve Buckney. For more information, search So Long Too Long podcast on all socials or email us at solongtoolongpod@gmail.com. So Long Too Long is part of the Club Shipwreck network. For more information, go to www.patreon.com/Club Shipwrecked. Thanks to John Gibbons and the Anfield Rap for loan of the studio.
I like playing in the dark, man.